Rob Dyke joins us. Rob, join the Rob Mob, of course, YouTube, the Rob Dyke on Twitter. Rob, you've been tweeting quite candidly and openly about Nicole Arbour, who is the talk of what seems to be the planet right now because of her Dear Fat People video. How do you know Nicole?
I know her through a friend of mine, Matthew Santoro, who a lot of people are familiar with. He does like fact videos on YouTube. So he started dating her, and that's how I knew her from there.
Excellent. And you and Matthew, how do you? What's your relationship?
Matt and I are just really close friends.
What I saw with Matthew as well when I was doing some research, though, was that him and Nicole kind of had a split, and then maybe they got back together. What happened with their relationship?
Well, from the get-go, everyone generally, but everyone meaning like some of Matt's closest friends, they all knew something was off. This girl swept in real quick. Everything was real amazing, really fast. And it just seemed unnatural. So, as good friends, we kept our mouths shut because we wouldn't want to discourage our friend from, being with the woman of his dreams. Now, let's fast forward a few months. They've been dating. This is supposed to be the honeymoon period, by the way, where everything's perfect, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
So we couldn't even get a damn honeymoon period. I feel so bad for him. He couldn't even get that. So now he ended up contacting me one night, and he was in hysterics. I mean, he was sobbing, crying uncontrollably. He could barely breathe. And he told my friend and I, he called us both, he said, I need you guys just to listen. Don't say anything till I'm done. I need you just to listen. And we knew something happened with Nicole.
So this is Matthew Santoro calling you up one night in tears, clearly bothered, and needed to lean on the support of his friends, which are you, Rob Dyke, and another guy.
Correct. So he had no idea what else to do. He said that he was just desperate to talk to somebody because he was losing his mind. So everything I say in regards to what this conversation was is what Matt told me. Nothing I gathered myself because I wasn't there. So just so that little disclaimer is thrown in there.
Sure.
Matt called me and our friend, and he had been at a Canon launch party for a camera. And now he knew a girl that was there. He had not a relationship like sexual or anything. He had a professional relationship with her because she was, I guess, part of YouTube Canada, as I remember it. So he had looked over at her, and Nicole had caught on to this. And Nicole started freaking out on him. Now, apparently this was a pattern that she had expressed throughout basically the entirety of their short time together. She was viciously jealous, accusing him of wanting to sleep with this person, accusing him of cheating on her constantly because he's so popular, he must be cheating. So he had enough at this point. Right at the party, he had the first anxiety attack of his life. That's what he said. He had never had one before, so he didn't know what was going on. He started freaking out. So he eventually takes an Uber back to her place in Toronto. He wasn't living there at the time. He lives there now, but he wasn't living there at the time. So he had some luggage at her apartment. He took it, and he said, I'm leaving, okay? And she blocked the path, blocked the door, and said, you're not going anywhere. Now, he said, no, I'm leaving. You need to move. And that's when she struck him in the face. She struck him in the face, physically hit him.
She hit him in the face.
She hit him in the face. This is what Matt told me. She hit him in the face.
So Matthew Santoro, one of the biggest YouTubers, I know he's the biggest Periscoper in the world right now, and he's obviously on Twitter as well, Facebook.
Correct.
You can get him anywhere. They're both Toronto celebrities who have made it amongst the entire world now. Was dating in a very public relationship, Nicole Arbour, who's beyond controversial because of this Dear Fat People video. The Instagram video I didn't like either, by the way. Her Instagram, I thought she went after Instagram hotties a little ruthlessly.
Gotta shit on people. Gotta shit on people.
Unfortunately. And then, so do you think this is something, Matt, again, this is alleged, this is you telling a story from something that Matthew had called you and told you about. So it's not. I'm not saying like there's any proof here, but if Matthew is the type of guy to call a friend saying, "Hey, man, I need some support here. Can you help me through a situation?" Rob Dyke. I mean, would you think this is a statement that Matthew would back up?
Yeah, Matt. I never heard him cry before. We had known each other for a while, talked on the phone a number of times. He's called me for advice a number of times. Nothing ever strange. It was normal shit. And all of a sudden this night, he was like, you could barely get a word out of him. He was just crying so hard. And I knew, like, this isn't normal. This is not right at all. And I immediately thought something happened with Nicole. I've never, let me say this for the record, because I think it needs to be known. Any behavior Matt had while with Nicole as his friends, we realized can't exactly be credited to his true personality. He was in a place where he was being manipulated left and right. And I guarantee, based on what he's told me, that if Nicole didn't like someone, he sure in hell was not allowed to converse with them or do any business with them on any level.
Again, it's and it's hearsay, and I have to say that, but it sounds like she was very controlling. After she strikes him that night in the face, is what you said, apparently what Matthew had told you. What happened after that? Do you know, after Nicole Arbour apparently hit Matthew Santoro in the face? What happened that night?
So he actually said, "You hit me," because he was in such a state of disbelief at that point. And she said something along the lines of, "Well, yeah," as if that's what you do when somebody upsets you. You hit them. So he said, "I'm leaving, get out of my way." And she said, "No, I'm not moving. We're resolving this." And he said, "Get out of my way." Now, he very explicitly explained the kitchen is right near the exit to her apartment. I believe it's right there. Kitchen knives. At this point, he began to fear for his life. He thought she might kill me.
Jeez.
So this inspired adrenaline in him, and he screamed at the top of his lungs, "Get out of my way." And this scared her, and she jumped to the side, and he walked out. Now, he was out of the building. Should have done his thing from there. Should have probably went to the police at that point. But he ended up getting contacted by Nicole. And this is when Nicole said, allegedly, that she was going to kill herself. She was going to jump off her balcony, and she was going to make sure that people knew Matt caused it.
Whoa.
So this freaked out Matt.
Now Rob,
Matt made... Go ahead.
No. Yeah, and I'm sorry, and I'm being very careful here because I just want to remind the listeners of the program, or if you see it later on a YouTube video that we do for ourselves, is Rob is just telling a story that Matthew had relayed to him, and I'm sure you have every right to believe this story, but without hearing it from Nicole's mouth, I don't want people to think that this is 1,000% fact. With that being said, we're not sitting here trying to exploit any situation. You're just looking after your friend from something that you've discovered, correct?
Correct. I was not there. I can't say for sure what happened. Do I believe Matt personally? Absolutely.
Okay.
Do I know for a solid fact everything that was said is exactly how it occurred? I don't know, and I can't pretend to know. Do I know that there is text message evidence of Nicole admitting to hitting Matt? Yes, I've seen it on a couple of occasions.
Now, Nicole threatening to commit suicide and let people know, because Matthew Santoro really is like, he's the Tom Cruise, minus some hair, of the YouTube world. And this guy is huge and a huge loyal following. Obviously, he wants to avoid as much controversy as possible, including controversy that could potentially be very legally damaging or even jail time, any of this stuff. I mean, no one would want that. So what is Matt's reaction at this point to Nicole allegedly threatening to do terrible stuff? And people, please don't, I hope anyone has these thoughts, let alone manipulates these types of phrases.
Right. Matt made what I believe to be a mistake. He went back to her room because now he's afraid that she's going to try to ruin my career. She's going to kill herself on top of it. It's going to be blamed on me. So I've got to go back and make sure everything's okay. Now, he actually according to him, took an elevator to the floor below hers. because he didn't want to get off on her floor because he believed she might be waiting there at the door with a knife ready to kill him right as the doors opened. So he legitimately took it to the floor below, took the stairs, walked up, peeked around corners, saw she wasn't there, eventually got to her door, got inside, and she was a mess on the floor. And he says, I can't leave until I know that you're okay.
Of course.
Because you can't commit suicide. Like, I need to know you're okay. Now, she said, I'm not going to stop saying that I'm going to commit suicide. And all of a sudden, out of kind of nowhere, I guess, she snapped out her cell phone and started filming Matt and saying, look, everybody, I said I was going to kill myself, and Matt Santoro said, good, like he wanted her to. So at this point, he ended up getting the phone away from her while she was on the floor, deleted the video, and he said, I have to call the police because, like, this shit's just crazy. He ends up calling the police. Now, here's where another mistake occurred. The police came, and they separated both of them, and Nicole was put on a stretcher. Now, they questioned Matt as to what happened, and Matt explained the whole entire situation. And he said, yes, she hit me, but I don't want to press charges. And the officer said, it doesn't matter in Canada. If it's a spousal dispute like a domestic violence, it doesn't matter if you want to press charges or not. Charges are being pressed. So he said, listen, she's an entertainment. She travels to the United States a lot. This could ruin her career. I don't want it to ruin her. Please do not put that in the report. I don't want to press charges. And the officer kind of looked to the side and then looked back and said, I'm sorry, sir, what did you say? And like a little hint, hint, nudge, nudge kind of a thing where, I didn't exactly hear that she hit you. So he didn't put it down. And she was taken away by, I guess, an ambulance. She was on a stretcher to a psych evaluation at a mental institution or wherever it may be. But I guess that's what happened. That was the end of the night. And then he, on his way home, broke down and called us.
Rob Dyke joins us. Sorry, Rob. Rob, you're joining us on Sirius XM, the Todd Shapiro Show here on Channel 168. We do this every weekday, 4 to 6. Rob, I have to be very clear, and while I'm very grateful for your time and love the success you've done with Seriously Strange and the Rob Dyke channel. It's you're everywhere, dude. Zombie Horse. These words, these are some pretty serious allegations of a very unfortunate night for all parties involved. No one ever wants to see any domestic abuse. No one wants to see any human being be put in situations of turmoil, of being frightened, of course, of being hit, and no one wants to see any human beings have just these occurrences because they're psychologically damaging for years and years and years. It hurts future relationships. I need to be very clear just to say, I'm not saying this is true. I don't even think Rob's saying this is necessary. This is just what your account from a conversation from Matthew Santoro. So this is still a very alleged incident, but you're still saying that, there might be some evidence to back some of this stuff up.
Right. I say I cannot confirm this is true. Do not believe necessarily beyond the shadow of a doubt that as if you were there watching the whole thing that this is true. But no, this is what I was told, and also know that I do believe it. And that's all. That's it.
Jay Brody?
But I cannot confirm it as true.
Holy shit. This is a wild tale and a wild turn of events. And if it is indeed true, I feel bad for Matt. I feel bad that he had to go through that. And that's just clear-cut abuse at the end of the day. That's abuse. That's emotional and physical abuse. And no one should have to suffer through that.
Yeah, and I just hope at the end of the day, man, I just hope everyone's okay. I really do. I hope Nicole's okay. I hope she's if these are true, I hope she's working on whatever it's jealousy issues, and I hope Matthew's okay. Mentally, and I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to sit here, Rob Dyke, and make it seem like we're this big gossip show and we're trying to ruin people's lives. I just want people to be okay. I just want to make sure that I'm being careful what to say because and maybe it's all bullshit, and maybe someone will say you guys are just trying to get attention for yourself. The thing is, you already have a ton of attention, so I don't know why you'd want to hurt that. I don't know why you'd potentially want to damage Rob Dyke, your following, or Matthew Santoro's. So I always find these situations very difficult. I can tell you that the video she put out there, the fat shaming video, I hated that. I thought it was so mean, and there was a time in my life where I was definitely a mean-spirited comedian on the radio, and I was encouraged to kind of be the best of the bad, and I evolved and I grew up from it, and it's not to say I'm even perfect to this day. There's still times I'll pick on my intern, and we all have our moments, but it's these calculated kind of malicious videos that I can concretely say she has done. She sat there and edited them and put them out there and knew she was raising controversy. So when it comes down to it, that's the stuff that I know is fact. I don't know any of the stories or whether these rumors, and it saddens me because I'm trying to live in this utopian place, man. I'm trying to, Rob Dyke, make this world a better place. I'm trying to do it through a great relationship with my wife. I'm trying to do it by being an unbelievable father. And it's not easy, man, because there's a lot of dark moments that people have. And I'm not ever passing judgment on people to say that they can't get out of those dark places. And I just hope with all of this that the moral message here, and one I tried to make in that video, which I think, Rob Dyke, you discovered me, and thank you for retweeting and everything, was let's just be accountable to younger audiences. Let's try and make a difference to everyone. And let's try and realize that celebrity isn't worth it. It doesn't matter that we're all in seek of fame and fortune and wealth. It's not worth it at the expense of hurting others.
Hey, I'm Jake Brody. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a comment. We read the best ones on the air.